Hello everyone, and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care channel. I'm Dwayne and I'm a certified level 2 RV inspector. But today we're going to be talking about how we can find out what RVs are worth, how we can get pricing information on RVs that are accurate according to the market. You know, with cars, it's really kind of a simple thing. With cars, you can just go to any number of websites that's out there, and they'll tell you what your make and model and year car is worth. Or there's also guides you could use. There's the NADA guide, there's Kelley Blue Book, and so on. But with RVs, well, it's a whole different story. It's hard to get pricing information on RVs all in one place. Now, NADA does make a guide for RV prices, but honestly, I've used it and it's kind of cumbersome and clunky and takes a long time to go through for each model. And I'm not really convinced that they provide the current prices that the market is asking on each particular model. So instead, I like to use a couple of websites that do the job for me very well. And one is RVTrader.com, the other is RVT.com. Now, the advantage that these websites have is that they literally have tens of thousands of RVs in their database all across the country nationwide. So there's almost no RV that you can't research on their site. And for newer RVers, it's a great idea because you can also learn about RVs without having to go to dealer lots. You can actually learn about them, about the models and what they have, the features they have, and get the pricing information at the same time. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at how we could use RVT.com to research RVs and RV prices. Okay, so here we are on RVT.com, and this is a great website for allowing RVers of all kinds to get information about RVs that they might be interested in or considering and get the pricing that the market will allow for that RV. Now, as you see here, it says that there's almost 87,000 RVs on RV.com throughout the nation. So that means we've got a large pool of RVs to draw from, and that's what gives us the best pricing information that we can get, because we can compare not just in our area but nationwide the prices for the RVs we're considering. So let's just see how we can use this. Let's go to this first little section here, RV type. And as you can see, for the newer RVers that they're not really sure what they want, well, you can search travel trailers, then you can go to fifth wheels, you can choose gas Class A's, diesel Class A's, Class C's, and so on, and you can pull those up and then go through them one by one and compare them, and then find out what the prices should be for each one of these classes. But let's just say that you've already decided that you want a fifth wheel. So we'll go ahead and click fifth wheel there. Now, you should, at this point, probably have some kind of budget for your RV. And let's say you've decided, well, I can spend as little as $40,000. I think that'll get me a good one. And I'll do as much as $60,000. That's kind of my limit, okay? Now, where are you located? Well, let's just say that you're located in Mesa, Arizona. And there we are. Let's just choose Mesa. And let's go about 50 miles away from Mesa, because in 50 miles there's a lot of RVs in that area. Okay, so we'll press search. And now my internet connection's a little bit slow here, so we'll just see how long it takes for this to come up. But in the meantime, kind of ignore the sponsored listings at the top and come right on down here. Here we go. We've got 146 listings of fifth wheels between $40,000 and $60,000 that are within 50 miles of Mesa, Arizona. Well, that's still a lot of listings to have to go through. So let's cut this down a little bit. Let's say that you are interested in just used fifth wheels. All right, so we'll click that, and that should bring us back down to 69 that are available. Yes, and there we are, 69 listings. So that's great. That's not an overwhelming number in your area, but it's a pretty good representation. Now, let's go one step further here, and here's where we start to get the pricing information that we want. Let's go by year, starting with the oldest. And so here we go. It's going to rearrange that for us. And so here we are. Now, as we take a look here, you can see that there's some really older ones. An 07, an 08, there's 3 2012s, and so on. So now you're beginning to see the years sort of put close together in one area so that you can compare them price-wise. But let's say that you're kind of interested, you really don't want to go much more than about 5 years old. So we're down here to 2015, and there's quite a few 2015s here that you can go through. I'd say close to 8 or 9 of them. All right, so first thing we're going to do is start with the first one that has pictures, because they don't have photos. I don't usually mess with them too much. So we'll start with this Grand Design. And once the information comes up here, the first thing you want to do is come right on down and take a look at what the features are. What they're saying is in this fifth wheel. And they've got them pretty well listed out here. So you kind of take a look through there, see what they say, some of the options that are on it. That's good to know. Right down here, great information. They're going to tell you the dry weight, and then when you compare that with the GVWR, the gross vehicle weight rating, then you know how much cargo you can put into it. So that's a very important piece of information. The length, how many slides, good, very good. They're asking 46.9 for it. So now come back up here and go through pictures, the pictures here. And there you go. There's a floor plan. That's great to see. Very good to see it kind of laid out for you. But then do the pictures one by one and get used to what you're looking at, especially the inside. Because the floor plan is probably what's going to mean a lot to you if you're a newer RVer, even if you're experienced. Take a look in there, see what they have inside it, how it's kind of laid out, how it's equipped. And then let's suppose that you've decided, I like this. This looks pretty good. Well, then you can come right down here and print that ad. And that's a great thing. Have a hard copy of it so that you can go back and kind of review it later and come back to this one if you need to. Now, let's go back. We reviewed this one. What you would then do is just go through the list and accomplish the same thing with the others that are 2015s. And for whatever reason, it seems like I've got to resort everything here. So let me get back up to our sorting, and we'll do it by the oldest year. And once again, we've got to wait a little bit because of my internet connection, but there it is. Okay, so we go back down to our 2015s. And we did the Grand Design, so just move on to the Montana here, the Rushmore. There's a nice DRV Tradition. Go through those. You see, if you're a newer RVer, this is teaching what you can expect in RVs, fifth wheels of this particular year. At the same time, take a look at the prices for this year. And it's starting around $47,000 here for the Solitude, $45,000 or so for the Montana, $46,500. There's the DRV costs more because they're more expensive to begin with. But then here's a more expensive Montana. But see, all of these are kind of generally in a close price range, within $10,000 of one another, generally speaking. But now, let's suppose that you've gone through all of these fifth wheels from 2015 up to now, and you have picked out a few that you want to pursue a little further, ones that you think they're in your area and they might be just what you're looking for. How do you know that what they're asking in this area is right or not for the price? Well, let's take, for instance, this Grand Design. So if you're interested in Grand Designs and a 2015 Grand Design, then just come right back up here and let's start refining our search. Let's go to Grand Design first. Okay, so now that's all set for us. And then let's go down to the next one is the brand. And let's choose the Solitude. Okay, so according to what they're saying, that's going to leave us with only 4 RV fifth wheels in the Mesa area within 50 miles to choose from. But this is good information because, I mean, look at it here. We have from 2015 on up to 2018. Well, that is telling us what's going on, because here at 2015 looks like it's about 47,000 for that one they're asking. There's a 16 for 43 and another 16 for 45. So maybe that 2015 is a little too much, you see, because there's 2 of them in the next year that's less money. Now, this is not enough to really make a full decision on, though, so let's really expand the search on this and make sure that we've got the right pricing here for this particular model of fifth wheel. And let's go any distance. That means nationwide. We're going to be looking for Grand Designs and that are between $40,000 and $60,000. And now let's go back. Let's sort them by the oldest year first. And then we'll find our 2015s and we'll see what we've got. Okay, 2015. There's the one in Arizona that's 47. Here's one that's 60,000 in Georgia. But here, more over here, we're looking at 50,000, 44,000, 45, 47. Okay, well then maybe the guy is really not completely out of line, but he's not giving you any great deal either. But as you can see, what you're learning is you're learning what the cost for this kind of fifth wheel is across the country. Now, there are different models of Grand Design Solitude. So you'll have to kind of recognize that the ones that have more features and more slides and things like that, well, they're going to cost a little bit more. But what you have learned here is that generally speaking, $44,000 to $50,000 is where these 2015 Grand Designs are. That's the asking price for them around the country. Now, what that means, of course, is that's the asking price. It means that in most cases, you're going to be able to buy these RVs for much less, or at least for less anyway. So you know that's the asking price. And that will tell you whether what you're looking at locally is kind of out of whack price-wise or not. And come to find out, this one for sale in El Mirage at 47, it's not really out of whack, you know, when you look nationwide. And but maybe some of those 2016s were better deals, you know. So at any rate, it's teaching you about prices. You're learning what the market will stand. As you can see here, we've got from $45,000 to $49,000 for 2015 Grand Design Solitudes. So this is a way that you can really determine what prices are for RVs that you might be interested in looking into. Now, one thing I will encourage is you should really set up an account here with RVT. And the reason for that is because then you can save the searches. See down here in the bottom left hand, you can save the searches that you're making. And that way you don't have to go back and, fill them all in piece by piece again. So that's a really good thing to do. But in general, I hope you can see here that RVT is a great place to learn about RVs and then learn what the cost should be for a particular year and model. And by expanding your search, you get that information, and armed with that information, you can now begin to bargain a little bit better with your local supplier of RVs. And keep in mind that this same kind of thing works well not only for RVT, but RV Trader can be used this way too. Okay, so that's it for this part of the video.
Well, I hope that information was helpful for you. Using these online tools like RV Trader and RVTcom, you can use their information, their database, to research the RVs you want and make sure you get them at the right price. Well, that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.